Monday, July the 11th, 9 o'clock. I appreciate you being here. This is a regular meeting of the Commissioners Court. We'll be beginning here just in a moment. If you are here to address the court, there's some sign-in sheets over on the table there that you will need to complete if it addresses any of the items that are on the agenda. And if you will go ahead and complete those and turn them into his used county clerk, we will move forward with that whenever we come back just in a little bit. So this morning I've asked, this is a kind of a very solemn time in our country, actually, and certainly in our state and in our neighbor to the west. And so I've asked Commissioner Allen to give the invocation, and then we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance to both our American flag and the Texas flag. So if you join me this morning.
Father, we're so grateful for this day. We're mindful of evil that's in this world, but when it comes close to home, it's even more on our minds. We'd ask you to be with those families and friends of the slain police officers who were essentially killed for no apparent reason. We know that there's a lot of things this country has to overcome, but hate is one thing that takes only you and the love for your son to take care of that. We'd ask that you continue to watch over them and bless them in the days and years yet to come. It's something that will probably never heal in many of their hearts and their minds. We're grateful that we're here today, that we can be servants of the citizens of Kaufman County, take care of the business that we need to do, and always do what is right for the majority, and always do the best that we can to serve those. Thankful for this country in which we live, the freedom which we have. We'll always be mindful and never take it for granted. Keep us close to you. It's in your Son's name that we pray. Amen. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
I don't believe anybody's signed up to.
No one signed in. Okay. Can y'all hear me okay back there? Okay. Well, we'll move right on into the agenda, and I don't have anything, I believe, in routine correspondence. So the next item will be in the consent agenda. We have two items there. The first one is to discuss and consider approving an interlocal agreement with the City of Rosser for road maintenance, and then the second one is to discuss and consider accepting an interlocal agreement between Kaufman County and the City of Tallahassee for road maintenance. I believe one of these A is in the precinct 4, and B, Tallahassee, I believe, in precinct 1. So, do we have any questions or comments from anybody? Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Allen, a second from Commissioner Rosali. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed. Next item is John Manning, who is a CPA representing the firm Patillo, Brown and Hill LLP. And John is here today to present our final audit from his firm for the fiscal year 2014-2015. Thank you, John, for being here.
Commissioners, thank you for letting us be here this morning. I'm going to go over the audit report briefly, and just to kind of go through the
John, you might that mic on there, turn it around so our people, folks here in the audience can hear.
Is that better?
Yeah.
I'm actually going to start in the thick of our annual financial report. If you look at page 1, don't get nervous, I'm not going to go over all 70 pages one by one, but this report here on pages 1 through 3 is our responsibility. The actual financial statements and the bulk of the report and financials and the notes are the responsibility of the county. Our responsibility is to express an opinion on those balances and disclosures that are presented to us when we get y'all's trial balance and look at y'all's records. So if you look at page 2, This is what we refer to as an unmodified opinion, meaning that we do not have to modify our report for any unknown issues like not keeping up with capital assets or items on the general revenue that you can't determine were correct or not, if y'all had disclosures that you couldn't determine were correct or not. So of the four types of opinions that we can give as outside auditors, the unmodified is the highest level of assurance that we can offer on a set of financial statements. While we're at it, if you look on page 2, you'll see kind of a unique paragraph here this year. It's called the Changing Accounting Principle, and I'm sure we've talked about it before we put in our letters, but this was the first year where governments have had to implement what was referred to as GASB Statement 68, meaning that we had to add your actuarial pension liability to the financial statements for the first time this year. So that is one of the reasons why the report's about 6 or 7 pages thicker than it was last year. That number, in accordance with a lot of extra disclosures in the notes and the required supplementary information, has created a lot more information to go in the report. But if you would, go ahead and take a look at page 41 and 42. If you look there on page 42, you can see there's a change in that pension liability. And after all the actuarial studies are done at the end of 12/31/2014, the county's total pension liability was $67.4 million. But in addition to that, as you know, the county and the employees all pay in. Those amounts are set aside to offset that liability. And if you look at the bottom of that number, it's about $65.4 million. So the actual amount that's hitting the financial statements is that third column, the $1.9 million. So even though you have a $67 million total liability, about $2 million is what's hitting the financials. And this is the first year that we've ever had to include that number. But these amounts have been in the report, they've just been required to be put in the footnotes, not actually recorded as a liability. And that's not me saying, hey, let's go ahead and add this. This is accounting standards dictating every county, every city, every school district had to put this number on for the first time in the history of the financial statement presentation. So one thing that I thought is kind of interesting, if you look at the bottom of page 42 there in that sensitivity analysis, when they're doing all of this, they use a discount rate of 8.1, which still seems a little bit high, but that's within prescribed standards for actuaries. So that's where you get the $1.9 million. But if you just shift that discount rate 1% lower, your liability would have been $11 million instead of $2 million. And if that number would have been 9.1%, you would have had an asset, meaning the assets that you had set aside versus your liability would have been a $5.3 million asset, meaning you would have had more assets than liabilities. So you can see when you're talking about $67 billion of liabilities, what 1% can do. So I just want to let people know that we're dealing with some big numbers there, but in the grand scheme of things, what's hitting the financials is a lot smaller than what the total liability was because of those assets. So that is one of the reasons why, if you look on page 13, why if you go down to the bottom and look at that unrestricted number for net assets, that is in a debit or deficit position. The reason that is because the actuarial liabilities are put in with no asset to offset them. Normally, if you just issue bonds and build something with it, like the armory, when you're doing the call center, if you issue debt, but you have an asset to offset it, the actuarial liability is just a liability and nothing is offsetting it. So it's just going straight to the bottom line and reducing that number. And also part of that number is, part of the debt that y'all issue is for projects that involve highways that aren't going to end up being y'all's. So that part of the debt goes against unrestricted as opposed to if it was a road that y'all maintained it on. So that's the real reason why that number is a little bit lower. But if you look at on this sheet, this is your governmental activities. This is everything that the county has: cash, uncollected taxes, capital assets. We've got some new items here for deferred outflow of resources and deferred inflows, and those have to do with the pension liability and the timing of that actuarial study. It also has your long-term liabilities, and even though that unrestricted position is deficit, if you look, total net position is a positive $60.5 billion at the end of the year. So So that's all of your assets, all of your liabilities, and what's left. So that number being at the bottom is positive, it is a good thing. If you look over on page 15, this is a balance sheet of your major funds and the funds that meet the major fund criteria, your general fund, general road and bridge and construction projects fund. And you can see the general fund ended with a fund balance of a little over 2.2 million. That's gone up over the last several years. That's about a month's worth of expenditures, so we like to try to see a couple of months at least. So I know y'all are, that's not something that you can do in one budget cycle, but I am pleased to show that it is going and increasing. But if you look there, General Road and Bridge has a $2.5 million fund balance, and the construction projects, although it is a $15.8 million fund balance, that is going to go down rather quickly as y'all get done with these projects. And cash and all those assets will be taken and turned into assets that aren't cash. So you'll see that go down, but don't get alarmed because that's the normal cycle there with those type of issues. And in your general fund, if you look over on page 18 and 19, you kind of get a picture of what I was just talking about. Your general fund went up about $750,000 this year. Road and Bridge went up about $329,000, but you can see in the construction projects with the capital outlay and infrastructure of $9.2 being spent, because that's how much that went down from a $25 million fund balance position to 15. So again, nothing out of the ordinary there, but just to point that out so you can see why there's a decrease in assets there. Also, there was a $3.6 million note that was issued this year, and that's over on page 19 down there under your issuance of long-term debt. And starting on page 22 is your notes to the financial statements, and these go into a lot more detail and narratively try to explain what the financial statements are trying to say, but using words instead of just having to look at numbers. For instance, if you look on page 33, you can see a schedule of your capital asset activity. So you can see there you finished the new building project, so that's been added to buildings and now that's starting to be depreciated. If you look over on page 35, you can see a detailed display of your long-term and short-term debt and all of your debt, outstanding schedules and amortization schedules on how those things get paid back. Starting on page 38 is your pension disclosures that, like I said, have increased a lot with the addition of GASB 68. So, with that, if you look on page 54, y'all manage a lot more funds than just the three that I mentioned, and those are what we refer to as non-major funds, and those are all listed here starting on page 54. These are the funds or pots of money that can only be spent on certain things. Money that's collected for records management, fines, seizures, things of that nature, debt service fund, all of those items are included here as prescribed by GASB, that they be added up back here, and that total of those funds is brought forward to the front. Also, if you look at page 73, because the county is a local government, we have to do our intergovernmental auditing standards, which means we have to look at things like compliance with grants. We have to look at are your funds being deposited properly? Do you have adequate FDIC insurance? Just extra things that you don't have to look for if you were just auditing a regular for-profit business and you did not have any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses to report there. And on page 75, y'all did spend over $500,000 of state grants this year. So we had to do our audit in compliance with the Texas Uniform Grant Management Standards. And if you look on page 79, we actually had to test the capital learner grant, the defense expense grant, and the CTERS. And in looking at those three major programs, we did not have any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses there either. So, all in all, a very good audit. I think the county's finances are looking better, getting into a stronger position. I know that when we first started this engagement, we had a lot of findings in the back, and I think with a lot of y'all's help, department's help, those findings have been reduced. And, I'd like to keep moving forward. And if y'all have any questions, I'll be glad to go over those now. But I'd also like to make sure that y'all know that the departments that we work with here are very helpful to us. When we go in and ask for things, they get back to us, they make sure we have everything, and we really appreciate that. And the auditor's office does a lot to prepare for us to look at, so we appreciate that.
I believe, since I've been county judge, this is the first audit that we've not had any findings presented by the outside auditor.
I believe that's correct.
And I also believe this is the highest general fund balance we've had since I've been here. So that's two good bits of news. Obviously, the auditor's office, the folks that work in her office and the purchasing department and all that, as well as the other officials that have budgets that are involved, everybody really come together as a team and help us to get where we are, and we're still not where we want to be, but we're getting better every year, and that's coming from tonight. I would agree. Commissioners, y'all have any questions or comments?
I need to look at the report, today. So, I'd like to take it to the next, commercial report up here.
Well, it was sent to you by,
I've got some questions, but rather than embarrass some elected officials and department heads in open court, I agree with Ken. I'd like to see this table until we can discuss this and workshop, and we possibly have our district judges and our district attorney there to answer some questions.
all right, so we have a motion on the table to table this until the next.
If we can have a workshop on it whenever the next available date is.
And your second, that
Section.
motion. All right, would you be available to come back?
Sure.
Should we decide to do that? So let's take a vote on that. If you would like to table this, would you raise your hand? Okay, I believe I see two hands raised. If you would not like to table this, if you would like to accept this as presented, would you raise your hand? That's a 3-2 vote, so we voted to accept the audit report. Thank you very much, Don.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Did we not have a motion and a second? Well, we did have a motion.
We had a motion and a second, but would have.
No, she's talking about a motion to accept.
A motion to accept it would be separate.
All right, do I have a motion to accept the report? Motion, Commissioner Allen, thanks for everybody for reminding me. Do I have a second? Have a second from Commissioner Phillips. All in favor, if you would raise your hand. 3, all those against? 2, 3 to 2. All right. Next item is, actually the next 2 items we're going to table, and because Desiree has had a family illness and she's not going to be able to be here, so I would like a motion first to table item number 4 until Desiree can be at the meeting. We have a motion from Commissioner Shane. Do we have a second? Second from Commissioner Phillips. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, same item number 5 to the table. Do I have a motion? Motion from Commissioner Phillips and a second from Commissioner Allen. All in favor say aye. All right, now moving on down to item number 6. Discuss and consider approving a memorandum of understanding between Kaufman County and the City of Kaufman to begin 911 communication services starting August 1st, 2016. The memorandum of understanding to terminate automatically at the start of the county's long-term consolidated 911 communication system agreement on October the 1st, 2016. And I believe the district attorney's office has some information for
first, we presented a memorandum of understanding between the city of Kaufman and Kaufman County in order to allow the city of Kaufman to come ahead and let, basically agree to 911 dispatch for the city of Kaufman.
Okay, do we have questions from anyone on this? Sheriff, do you have anything you'd like to add, since this is in your bailiwick?
No, we have some urgency here because of the condition of the city's current radio system. It's almost not optimal, it's very, unreliable, so we need to get them on board to, for the safety and for them to be able to respond to calls and for this. So that's what the urgency is.
Okay. Commissioners, anybody have any questions about this?
How many employees are we going to be taking in from Kaufman City Hall? You have vacancies, I assume that
I'm sorry?
you have vacancies to accept that employee into your budget?
Yes. Yeah. So they won't require any additional funds.
Okay.
Other questions?
I make a motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Rosali to approve the item number 6, and Commissioner Phillips seconds the motion. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Item number 7 is now from Commissioner Rosali to discuss and consider legal abandonment of 1,240 feet of County Road 114 at the dead end, which is kind of cul-de-sac, I believe, is it?
No, there's no cul-de-sac, this road is dead end to John Davis's gate.
Which
President.
He's the only person that owns property.
Yes, he has bought land, I've provided your exhibit A and B there, that it shows from the records from the Franklin District that he has 1,050 acres at the end, and he's bought land going up the road on both sides to that 1,200 and 40-foot mark. And for security reasons, he wants to put an entrance at that beginning of his property. He agreed to make a cul-de-sac at his expense. So fire department will do our turnaround safety, which is a better deal than we have now. Presently, they have to back out the pay. So the court commission, I'd like to grant him his wish to gate off that road. And legal has, I think, looked at this and it's good to make a motion to approve this item.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Rivali to approve item number 7 as outlined. We have a second from Commissioner Shane. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed. Also, item number 8 is from Commissioner Rivali to discuss and consider approving a bid for reclamation of 1 mile of County Road 136 and 136A with a sole source stabilizer sold and installed by Straight Path Roadworks LLC, which is the exclusive dealer for Dallas roadway products, approximately $84,000 or 88 cents per foot.
I read this by a person agent, and she suggested we take it to court because it is over $50,000, and we ran it by legal also, and supplied as documentation is sworn affidavit from Dallas roadway products that their product is a sole source item, and this company is the Straight Path Roadworks has exclusive dealership of this product. So they gave me a quote to install a stabilizer at Big Lanes Road for $84,000. I thought we'd try this product. It's not a new product, but nobody that I know around here has used it. They've done a lot in South Texas, Central Texas, Ellis counties, and it pretty much turns the rock and clay underneath it almost into a sedimentary rock state. And as you can see, they got a 7-year guarantee.
I noticed that in the paperwork.
And if you buy the preset amount there, they've got a 25-year. And they showed us some roads that they've had going to a landfill for 25 years with no base rate.
Is there a separate agreement that we'll need to have for
but the DA's office cannot speak as to whether that is the sole source. So I just want to make sure that we make that distinction. So we definitely approve the contract part of it, but, and the affidavit and documents that were prepared, but we cannot speak, and we're not engineers, we cannot speak to the sole source. And I don't know if the purchasing, county purchasing agent, maybe could speak more to that. I just want to clarify that so the court is aware.
I'm not a chemist either, but the only evidence that I have is their sworn affidavits, just like we use for P2 emulsions. I don't think we have a chemist in the county that's examining P2 emulsions either, but we accept their sworn affidavit.
No, there's no challenge. We're not challenging you. We're just being lawyers and
Well,
clarifying.
Yeah. Well,
That's all
I want
we're
to
saying.
clarify that I'm not a chemist either, but I do have a sworn affidavit, which is the best that I can do.
Absolutely.
Please, just in Ellis County?
Yes.
So, the guarantee gives me comfort that,
Well, I think it's something we need to look at. This product works excellent in expansive clay soil, which is what we had a problem with in my precinct and precinct 2 as well as precinct 3. So I thought it'd be worth a try, and we'll set up a workshop if y'all want to when they come to do that, so everybody can see the chemical, see the process, and everybody can get better.
have you, some guarantees are not worth the paper they're written.
I'll secure the guarantees I am.
Okay, and I'd like for the DA's office to look through that and make sure there's no money.
I mean, it's in here.
I saw it.
Yeah, it is.
I just think that with this, it's a different product that we've not used in our county, and let's hope it works, and it works better. But let's make sure that guarantee is solid, it's not, and I'm sure it is.
All I have is their.
No, we've looked at the guarantee.
So you feel good about it?
Questions
Right.
about that at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just want to make sure you didn't think.
Session on motion made by Commissioner Shane and a second made by Commissioner Allen at 10:44. It passed unanimously. And now we are into item number 15, and that is to discuss taking any action needed as a result of the executive session. So gentlemen, what's your pleasure?
On item number 12, make a motion that the DA's office, with the county judge, continue negotiations with ATS.
And we have a motion from Commissioner Allen that the district attorney's office and the county judge continue negotiations with ATS on the existing contract. Is that correct? All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Phillips seconds the motion. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. 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 Those opposed? Did you vote?
Yes.
Okay. Motion carried. So now we'll move right into discussion of the line item transfers. Item 16.
13.
Oh, 13, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I make a motion that we have no action.
Second.
Have a motion that no action be taken on item 13. And we have a second. That was by Commissioner Phillips and Commissioner Shane seconded that motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed. All right, also, now we can go into item number 16, discuss and approve the line item transfers. Where is Ms. Karen? There she is going.
Oh, okay.
Any questions on the line of transfers? I think they were already sent to y'all for review.
Okay, come back. Okay.
Any questions from anybody on the line item transfers? All, we have a motion for to approve the line item transfers. Commissioner Shane makes that motion to have a second. Commissioner Allen seconds. All in favor say aye. Those opposed. Item number 17 now is to discuss and consider claims for payment.
All right, your claims for payment today are $1,569,103.02. $640,000 a little over that was for your road bonds. Employee benefits were, it's the first of the month, then we paid all the insurances, was $481,000. Road materials for precinct 1, 3, and 4 were $119,000. And we had to take a second quarter unemployment, it was 19, capital murder expenditures were 15. And you did, the fifth was 25,000.
Anybody have any questions about the bills? She, I think, was going to address that.
On what, I didn't hear the question.
Okay, go ahead, Jake.
The capital murder case, can be working today?
Oh, the capital murder case. No, but we have presented the information to the Indigent Defense Commission, and they're having a meeting, I don't know the exact date yet, on the end of the month of August. And I'm going to appear before them like we did one time before. And it's around $470,000. I hope we get the full amount, but, anything we get will be a help. But I feel that's their last meeting of the year, and if they, if they have monies, I feel like they will try to help us. We just don't have right. But we are working on that. Plus, we're working on trying to get the money back from the governor's office on the prosecution.
We had to change, yes. It was for
Did you have
countywide.
something else you wanted to announce?
Yes, sir. On the penalty on the 941 issue we had when the bank sent stuff back and forth, I have received a letter from the IRS saying that they are aware of the problem and they have an appeals officer working on it, and to give them 30 to 45 days before we have an answer. I sent a letter to Mr. Dietz, State Comptroller's Office, on the $18,000 something that they required us to pay, because that payment was not sent also. And he sent a letter to Judge Wood, or email, apologizing because it got lost in the transit, and he got a copy of it finally, and they have remitted that money back to us. So we've gotten, it was almost $19,000. We've already got that put back in our accounts last week. On the other IRS item, on the 1099 issue, we have submitted all the 4669 forms that were required, and Rick Layer met with them, and I got a letter from them that they signed an appeals officer, and I signed the paperwork to ask them to waive that because we didn't agree with them fining us so much. So I haven't received anything back because they said it would be another 30 to 45 days. They take a while. But that was good report that they're at least looking at it and aware that we did right. People pay the taxes and stuff.
How do you like that, Rick? You like it?
I've only talked to him once or twice. Page 24. Reading mechanical, that was, I think, repairs to units. Sorry, let me find it for you. installing a split system. That was the one you came and asked me about when I told you about lost. And we made sure that, Chief Stone knew she received that service and she signed off on it.
So this was ordered from the sheriff's department, not our maintenance.
Well, but we got it before the contract. 317 before the contract.
Yeah, that was the last Friday.
3 days, I have a lawyer,
A what?
a lawyer, I think Bill, 34 months.
All right,
Let me dig in. No offense at all. She likes it.
I'm not really very.
She doesn't say anything rough like. She's good for it. She's worth that naked what we're paying.
Any other questions?
Yeah, this.
Yes, Ms. Dewey's the one signed off on that. They're helping y'all, that's FEMA.
You get calls for you.
I think we got money for that. We got reimbursed. Sure, I don't know, so I don't forget it.
You're good to go. All right, we have a motion to approve the claim for payment.
Second.
I have a motion, Commissioner Phillips, second from Commissioner Phillips, and motion from Commissioner Allen. Get it right. All in, any discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion from Commissioner Phillips, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Commissioner Rosales, second, say aye. All in favor say aye. Aye. You guys don't leave till you sign this, Karen.
Thank you.
And we'll have our workshop meeting beginning at 8:30 next Monday upstairs. We'll get that posted later on this week. And have several different items, talk about the budget. And we'll bring in pizza for lunch or something like that, so we can work lunch.
Everybody sign that?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Make sure it is.
On the source, but yes, we've looked all the legal documents are in order.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve this item.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Raleigh to approve item number 8 concerning the improvements of 136 and 136A with Straight Path Roadworks, exclusive dealer for Dallas roadway product. We have a second from Commissioner Phillips. Do we have any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed. All right, we have item number 9 now, which is from Commissioner. Did I miss one? Okay, I thought I heard somebody speak up. Commissioner Shane to discuss and consider accepting fiscal year 2016-2017 amended annual road report for Road and Bridge Precinct number 3. I believe you have a copy of that that was presented.
This correction we made, I just take care of it, so. Rebecca, she said,
just got put back on there, what's supposed to be there. So it's all included.
So we probably should date this amended as of today's date, but we can handwrite that on there. Anybody have any questions for the commissioner on the amended report, precinct 3? I have a motion, Commissioner Shane, have a second. Second. Commissioner Allen, all in favor say aye. Those opposed. I'll say, okay, item number 10 is to discuss and consider approving an on-system utility agreement between Kaufman County and the Able Springs Special Utility District for the new access, I don't think it's already yet, but for the FM 3486 utility relocation project. I was out by there, and I don't think they started.
This next one, 18.
Okay.
I'll make that motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Shane to approve, and a second from Commissioner Allen. All in, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed. All right. Is anyone here, out here with our preacher? I see you back there now, so thank you. We're going to go into an executive session now concerning the purchase of, possible purchase of some land from the First Baptist Church at Kaufman. And I need a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Government Code Section 551.071, consultation with an attorney regarding pending or contemplating litigation and/or a settlement offer regarding a contract with ATS. The second executive session, and actually what I'd like to do, I think the folks from the church are on a tight schedule. I believe you said earlier that you need to be out here. Judge Wiley, if it's okay, I'd like for them to go first with their item, and then we'll come back with the ATS.
Okay.
And so we'll move to item 13, which is also an executive session item concerning section 551.072 of the Government Code, deliberation about real property to deliberate the purchase of real property from the First Baptist Church. We have a motion to enter into the executive session. Mr. Phillips makes that motion. Commissioner Raleigh seconds the motion. All in favor say aye. Please note that the time is 9:32.